Okay, good evening, guys, and welcome to this class. Okay, now in this class, we'll be talking about trend lines. So I'll be explaining what trend lines are, how they can be used, and also what breakout and retest means. Okay, I'll be using Mr. David and his students. They are all fictional characters, so they don't exist. So I'll just be using them to simplify and explain the concept of trend lines better. Okay, now in the last class, Prince Wonder talked about support and resistance. For those that were here in the last class, Prince Wonder talked about what support and resistance is. And let me just do a quick recap on what he said. So when price comes all the way from up here to this downside here and goes up again to come all the way down here, that means we have a support line already. So we need at least 2 touches on the support level to validate it as a support. And also for resistance, price came all the way up here and came here again the second time and came here again for the third time. So we have our resistance there. Okay. Now trend lines are just like support and resistance. There's really no difference between them except that support and resistance is drawn horizontally. As you can see here, this support and resistance here are drawn horizontally. So that's the difference between it and trend lines. Let's get started. Now, in Mr. Davis' class, Mr. Davis asked 6 students. So on a fateful morning, he entered the class and told the student that he would be explaining what trend lines are in today's class, and he will also be using the students as practicals. Please, if you can hear me, please let me know if you are all following. Please type in the chat box if you can hear me clearly. Let me know if you are following me. Okay, I'm meant to see any reply. If you are following, please. Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay, now in Mr. Davis' class, he has 6 students, and he will be using them as okay. Okay, and he'll be using them as practicals. You know, practicals speaks better than theories, so you'll be using them as practicals. So what Mr. David, the classroom teacher, did next was pick 3 of them and line them up in this way. I hope you can all see. So he lined them up in this way, and after that, he used his ruler to draw a line in front of them. He used his ruler to draw a line in front of them here, as you can see here. And after that, he took the remaining 3 students here. But this time, he didn't place them on the same line with the first 3. He placed them outside the line here and arranged them the same way he arranged the first 3 students, as you can see here. Okay, so he arranged them the same way he arranged the first 3 students, but this time he didn't put them on the same line. He put the 4th student, which is this one here, outside of the first line, and he arranged them the same way he did for the first 3. Then he also took a ruler and drew a line in front of them the same way he did for the first 3 students. Okay, coming. Now, what does this line mean? Now, this line is there for them, so for it to serve as resistance. That is, this line is resisting them from passing through, from crossing through this line. That is why it is called a resistance. So this line that is there won't allow them to cross through that point that Mr. David drew the line from. Okay, and for these last three students here, the line in front of them is serving as a resistance. That is, it is not allowing them to cross through like the first three two. So they won't be able to cross through until they can break above it. Now, from what you're seeing here, from where Mr. David started drawing the line from the first student here down to the last student, what will you call this line? Now we know that it is a resistance that is serving as a resistance for them, and number two, it is also a trend line. So what will you call this line that is in front of them here? Let me see your comments. Let me check for your comments. Okay. Let me start. Let me see your comments. What would this line here be called? Remember that you started drawing it from the first student down to this last, to this third student here. Okay. So Mohammed said downtrend, downtrend. Okay. Who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Or if you don't understand, let me know if you didn't understand what I said earlier, so I can go again. Diagonal resistance. Who else? Who else? Who else? DT and UT. Please type in full. I don't know what DT is. Downtrend. Uchisamu said DT and UT. Sadiq said downtrend. I want the full name. Type it in full. Downtrend and uptrend. Include the resistance in front of it and include the resistance in front of it. That's what I want to see. Okay, let me go again. As if you didn't understand the concept of what I said. Now, Mr. David drew a line in front of them from the first student down to the third student. Now, this line is acting as a resistance, and as you all know, it is a okay. Godwin, I'll go again. As you all know, it is a resistance that is it is preventing them from passing through. You get. So now that you know that this is a resistance, and number two, it is also a trend line. What will you call this line here? What is the full name that you give it? Let me give you an hint. Number one, it is coming down. Number two, it is a resistance, and number three, it is a trend line. So what will you call it? Let me see your comment. Let me see the chat box. Anyone? 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 Trend line, resistance, line. Okay, what I wanted to hear is it is a downtrending resistance trend line. Like I said earlier, the hint is it is down, it is coming down. The line is coming down. As you can see where the arrow is pointing to, it started from the top to the third student. That means the line is coming down. Number two, it is serving as a resistance for them. That is, the line is resisting them from passing through. You get. So it is also a resistance. And number three, it is a trend line drawn in front of them. So we have a downtrending resistance trend line. Okay. And for this second one, to what will you call this second one, to this one going up? What will you call it? Let me see your comments. What will you call this second for this last three students? What will you call it? Anyone, 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 anyone. No. If Former said descending trend line, no, no, no. For this second one, okay, good, good. Someone said uptrending resistance trend line. Okay, good, good. Okay. The answer is that is an uptrending resistance trend line. As you can see here, downtrending resistance trend line and uptrending resistance trend line. Now, for this one, okay, let's assume the teacher drew a line at their back here where there's no line. Let's assume the teacher drew a line at their back for these first three students here. What will you call this one? Let's assume the teacher drew a line at their back here. What will you call it? Anyone? 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 Okay, I know this is support. Jeffrey said support trend line. There's something I want in front of it, like I did for the first one. Let me give you an hint. It is coming down. It is serving as a support and serving as a trend line. Okay, good. I always said down trend support trend line. Okay, good, good. Now, for the second one, what will the second one be called? What will the second one called? Remember, the second one is going up, it's serving as support, and it's serving as trend line. So what will it be called? Anyone? Anyone? Okay, good. Uche Samuel said uptrend, support, trend line. Okay, good, good. Exactly. Now that's what we have here. Okay, good. Now that we understand what downtrending resistance trend line means, what downtrending support trend line means, what uptrending resistance trend line means, what uptrending support trend line means. Now, let's talk about breakout and retest. I know you must have been hearing of that word, where a trader will just say breakout, a trader will say he had a retest, all these complicated words these traders use. So let's talk about breakout and retest. Okay. Now, a breakout, let me show you an example of what a breakout is before I go into it. Now, remember that the teacher first positioned these first three students here on one straight line. As you can see, this is a student here, the first student is here, the second student is here, and the third student is here. But look at what he did for the fourth student. He placed him outside the downtrending resistance trend line of the first three students. Let me go again. For the first three students, he placed one here, he placed the second one here, and he placed the third one here. But for the fourth student, he placed him outside the line, outside the downtrending resistance trend line. You get? So what happened here is called a breakout. That is, the fourth student broke out of this zone that these first three students are. You can see that the fourth student is not in the line of the first three students. So that is what is called a breakout. You get? So now for retest, okay, I'm coming. Did you understand the concept of the breakout that I said just now? If you understood what the breakout that I explained is, someone should kindly explain. If you can use audio, please tell me. I will unmute you now. If you can use audio, just indicate if you want to use audio, and I will unmute you. Okay, anyone. If you understood what breakout is and you want to use audio, you can type anyone. And if you didn't understand it, please let me know so I can go again. Anyone? Okay, I don't understand. Okay, I don't understand. Okay, let me go again. Now, we talked about what breakout is. Now, breakout means, let me show you what breakout is. Instead of just explaining it, let me just show you a practical aspect of it. Now, look at these first three students here. The first three students in this downtrending resistance trend line and downtrending support trend line. if you notice what happened there, you see that when the teacher placed the first one here, he placed the second one here, he placed the third one on the same line, but he placed the fourth one outside of that line. What happened there? That means the fourth student broke out of this trend line here, this downtrending resistance trend line. Okay, let me use this example. Now, assume you are placed in the middle of a wall and a trailer, but now you can't. The trailer is at your back and the wall is at your front, but now you can't crawl under the trailer or you can't climb over the trailer. You either have to push the trailer or you have to break the wall in front of you. So now, what will you do? Will you push the trailer or will you break the wall in front of you? Of course, you break the wall in front of you, as that one is easier than pushing the trailer at your back. Okay, okay. Okay, as I was saying before, you would break the wall in front of you instead of pushing the trailer at your back, as that one is easier. So at the first at your first attempt of breaking the wall, I'm sure the wall won't even budge at all. That it won't show sign of weakness at all. This is what happened to the first student here. The first student tried to break through the line but couldn't break through the line. The second student tried to break through but couldn't break through. But it was showing sign of weakness already. The third student tried to break through but couldn't break through. But the fourth student was one that was able to break out. That was why the teacher placed him outside the line. I hope I'm clear. So if you try to, let me continue with the example I was using before. There's a trailer at the back and there's a wall at the front. So I'm very sure that when you attempt at first, the wall won't break. When you attempt the second time, if you're a very strong person, there's a higher chance that the wall will start showing sign of weakness. Then when you try the third time, it might want to fall, but it might not fall. But at the fourth attempt, I'm very sure that it will fall. So that is what happened for the fourth student here. That is, the fourth student broke out of this line that is holding them down. So am I clear? If you understood what I said, please let me know. Please indicate in the chat box if you understood what I said. Did you understand the concept of breakout I just explained now? Please let me know if you don't understand, though. I'll happily go over again. Okay, understood, yes, understood, thanks. Okay, good. Now, for retest, okay, for retest. Now, let's assume that when this fourth student was placed outside that line, let's assume that the fourth student came, let's assume that the fourth student came back to that line. Maybe the fourth student came to the line to talk to the third student here that I've broken out to the who was this was. Okay, like let's assume the fourth student came back to the line to meet his friend, the third student here. You get, so let's assume he came back. That is what is called a retest. That is, the fourth student came to retest the trend line that it broke out from. Okay, let me go again. Now, when this fourth student broke out, let's assume that the fourth student came back to that line to retest it. It came back to that line just to come and test it. So that is what is called a retest. Did I explain it very well? Let me know. Okay. Did I explain the concept of the test very well? Or if you didn't understand, okay, someone said I should come again. Okay, let me go again. Okay, now for retest, when the fourth student broke out, like I said earlier, if the fourth student decided to come back to that line, maybe to come and greet his friend that, hey, third student, I'm already going, and started going back up, like, how will I explain? Okay, let's say when the fourth student broke out, it came back to meet his friend that, hey, I'm already going, see you later. What the fourth student came back to do is what is called a retest. That is, it came to retest the trend line. You get? That is, it came to retest the trend line. That is what is called a retest. Did you understand what the retest? Mm-hmm. Someone said yes. Someone said I understand. If you don't understand, let me know. I'll go over again. I'll go over again if you don't understand. Oh, someone said I should use arrow. My network is bad, so and I don't want to use the chat at all, as it might affect my network. Exactly. Emmanuel Omole said maybe the fourth student forgot something, so he needed to go back. Okay. Ayowizi said I should come back again. I should come again. Now, when the fourth student broke out of this trend line here, now we all know that the fourth student is outside the trend line already. Now, let's assume the fourth student came back to this trend line here, this downtrending resistance trend line. Let's assume the fourth student came back. That is what will be called a retest. That is, the fourth student came to retest this trend line here. Who said I should explain that time? Okay, okay, Ayowizi, am I clear now? Yes, exactly. Let's say price came back to the resistance trend line to retest the let's say price came to retest the resistance trend line. I'm using real price action now to explain this. Let's say price came back to retest, then you know for sure that price is going up, except there's another reason behind it, then it might break down again. So I don't want to go into that now. So now I've explained this concept. Now trend lines, what downtrending resistance trend line means, what downtrending support trend line means, what uptrending resistance trend line means, what uptrending support trend line means. So I've explained all these in simple concept now. So what I want to do now is show you what it means in real price action. Okay, so now what you're looking at here is an example of what uptrending support trend line, like I showed you here, this uptrending support trend line here. Oh, the meeting will end in 10 minutes. Okay, let me just round up fast. Let me round up fast. Okay. Okay, this is an example of uptrending support trend line that I explained in the previous slides. So as you can see, just like the fourth student was on this line, price also showed that this concept that I explained previously applied to it also. So we had a first touch here, a second touch here, a third touch here before price broke down. But as you can see in this one, when price broke below this trend line here, we didn't have a retest, and we might still have a retest. I'm not sure yet, but for now, we don't see any sign of a retest. Okay, like this is another example. Okay, price first came back. Please, if you are confused, what am I calling price? Price is candlesticks. So price first came here to test it, then it came back here to test it again, then it came back here the third time to test it, the fourth time to test it before breaking down. So there's no limit to how many times candlesticks in general can touch a trend line. So it can touch it 15 times, it can touch it 100 times, it can touch it 50 times, and sometimes it can touch it just 2 times. There's no limit, but at least you must have 2 touches on the resistance on the trend line before it can be valid. Okay, did you all understand that? Oh, someone is asking for my WhatsApp number. Okay. Okay, I'll answer all questions. Please just let me finish this before I start answering questions. Okay, for downtrending resistance trend line, like you saw there, from the first student to the second student. But as you can see here, we didn't have a third touch. We broke out on the third touch, like that is price. I think the third students broke out of the resistance trend line. So we only had 2 touches on this. And when we broke out, we came back for a retest. Exactly what I was talking about that the fourth student did. We came back for a retest after we broke out. And when we broke out, did you see what happened? When we came back for a retest, price started going up. For the guys that asked that what happens after a test, what should we do after a retest? Of course, in this case here, when price broke out and came back for a retest, what did you do? It started going up. So after a retest, based on what you are looking at, then it is either a buy or a sell. Okay, okay. What else? Now to another example. This is another example of a downtrending resistance trend line. This even happened yesterday. Was it not this morning or yesterday night that I saw this? It was yesterday night. So when price broke out after the third touch, it came back for a retest. As you can see that it came back for a retest on that resistance trend line before going back up. But please note that it is not every time that price will come back for a retest. This is not compulsory. But once in a while, price might come back, and sometimes price might not come back. So you shouldn't always expect a retest on a trend line. Okay, another example. Now, this is another example of a downtrending support trend line. As you can see here, we had a first touch and we had a second touch. So if you saw the first picture that I sent of the first 3 students, then you understand what downtrending support trend line means. That is, this trend line is holding price from passing through it. It is resisting price from passing below it. Okay, another example. Now, uptrending resistance trend line. As you can see here, price came to test it at first, went down again, test it the second time before going down. So that will be all for trend lines example. So if you have any question now, we have around 4 minutes 40 seconds before the class ends. So if you have any question, please start asking them now so I can answer before the class ends. Will someone ask for my WhatsApp number that time? Okay, I'm coming 090. So if you have any, oh, someone said the specificity means battery. That's true. Okay. Okay. If you have any question, let me know. Any question, I will happily answer them. But make sure your question is based around what I just said. Okay, okay. Any question? What causes the downtrend or uptrend in price? Okay. Any other question? What causes the downtrend or uptrend in price? It is normal for downtrends and for price to go up and price to go down. For price to go up, that means buyers are overcoming the sellers. That is, buyers are stronger than sellers. So when buyers are stronger than the sellers, what will happen? Price will go up. And for downtrend, when sellers are stronger than the buyers, that is when people that want price to go down are stronger than people that want price to go up. Then we'll have a downtrend. Okay, Jeffrey, what's the question on support and resistance? Let me see if I can answer. Any other question? Any other question? Any other question? We have less than 3 minutes. My network is fluctuating, sir. Kindly chat me up. Okay, okay. Let's see if you can come in. Okay, so what makes price break a previous support or resistance? And how can one know that a support or resistance can be broken soon? Okay. Okay, like I said earlier in this girl's question, was it the girl? Ufoma's question. What makes price break a support is when sellers are stronger than the buyers. That is, they broke the support beneath them. Let's say you are pushing against someone now, and when this person starts pushing you back, what happens? That is, the person is stronger than you. So that means the person is pushing you back towards your support that is at your back and pushing you through it if the person is very strong. And for resistance, the same thing applies. When you are pushing the person towards the person's support, that is the person's back, that is, you are stronger than the person for you to do something like that. And how can one know that a support or resistance will be broken soon? I can't answer that one now because it depends on the context of price. And also, price has to give you a signal. You can't just look at price now and say that this support or resistance will be broken now. Okay. Okay, the meeting is about to end. So if you have any question, you can either chat me up privately or ask in the group or from anyone you saw. Number, okay, Monica Indy, I've saved your number already. I'll text you, no worry. Okay, thank you everyone for attending. I'm very, very grateful. So I'll be ending the meeting now. Thank you all very much. Thank you very much. Okay.